Hello, everyone. Welcome to Ask the Nanny. Guess what? Today I have my special guest is Jenya Files, and she's going to talk to us about car seat safety. But before we get started, I'm going to have her to introduce herself and tell us a fun fact about herself while I share this with my groups. So, Jenya, it's on you.
Hi, I'm Jenya. I have been a CPST since October of last year. I'm in California, so I did a 5-day training. It's over 40 hours long. I actually did this 2 weeks after having pretty intense surgery for endometriosis. During my training, I managed to have one of my stitches pop open and I broke a shoe. So, but I passed with 100% on all of my exams as well. So it was worth it.
Wow. That's kind of, to me, that's the stitches part. I'm just like, I don't know how you did. Well, I guess as a nanny, we do a whole lot of things under duress, under pressure, just a whole lot of things. And like, oh, I'm super nanny. I got this. Don't worry about me. I'm good.
Either I pass this course and I just deal with the repercussions later, or I have to take it all over again. And I was on day 3 and I didn't want to do it all over again.
Oh, no, we don't want to do it all over. Definitely don't want to do it all over. Okay, I'm going to share this to my groups right quick. And then we are going to get started. I have them all pinned at the top. So, yay. All right, got it. Okay, so I have a couple announcements before we get started. Guess what, y'all? As the nanny is turning 3. Yippee! We're turning 3. That's why I have the happy birthday banner on the wall behind me. Hello, Shamitra. Hi,
Zadie.
Zadie.
Yeah.
And hi, Meechus. How are you? Um, I'm going to turn my comments on because sometimes I can't see the comments on my screen because of StreamYard, unless you're friends with me. So I got my phone on, so you'll see me looking back and forth to make sure I got everybody. Now, we're turning 3, and every day, starting tomorrow morning, I am giving away a gift card to a nanny every day from September the 1st through September 30th. And yes, that includes weekends.
That's awesome.
And an extra added bonus on September the 20th through the 25th, which is National Nanny Recognition Week. I have special gifts that I'm going to mail out to certain people. Now, if you all know Chevelle Fredericks and Meeches and Stephanie Balcom and Toya Windsor, and there was somebody else I'm forgetting. I'm forgetting somebody, and I should have wrote it down. I'm sorry. But if you know those ladies, those are my hearts because they are who started with me. They have been kicked out of groups because they shared Ask the Nanny. They have shared with moms groups, with nanny groups, with group groups, and I've been all different places because of these ladies. Chevelle was the one who introduced me to the nanny world on Facebook. And Stephanie was the one that says, you need to go on Facebook Live. And I'm like, no, I can't do it. So I am here because of those young ladies. I continue to be here because of Meeches. Oh, Christina, how could I forget Christina? Christina Cass. She used to drive home listening to me when I first started. Every Monday, she would say, I'm on the road, but I'm listening. She would be driving home from work, listen to me on Ask the Nanny on her phone. All of these ladies have been very instrumental in getting Ask the Nanny to where it is today. And I am totally grateful. And if you know these ladies, shout out to them. And ladies, I will be contacting you after the show to get your addresses because I have something special for you. So just be on the lookout for that. And also, one other announcement. Um, look on the Ask the Nanny page. It's pinned to the top how you enter the contest of getting the gift card every day. You have to follow me. It's all in threes. You have to follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and subscribe to YouTube. And then you have to tag 3 friends. And then number 3 is you check done. Now, if you already have done all of this, just tag 3 friends. And if you already follow me and like me and subscribe to me, just tag 3 friends. Your friend, you get entered into the contest, and your friends do the same thing. And the more you enter, the more you have a chance to win because everybody's name's going in the hat. So be sure you follow the directions and tag that particular post in order to win. Now, September the 18th to the 25th is the Parent and Nanny Conference for the U.S. Nanny Association. If you haven't got your ticket, get it now. Also, tomorrow night, I will be co-hosting on the U.S. Nanny Association, the weekly webinar on the U.S. Nanny Association page. Come and watch. I'm giving away a free ticket to the conference. So if you want a chance to win, you have to watch. So now, with that all said, we're going to get into our topic for tonight. Um, Hello, Adrian and Susan. I haven't seen you in a while. How are you? Um, at what age can a child be turned from rear facing to forward facing?
So it will depend on what state and what country you're in. In California, it's minimum 2 years old. But the golden rule is that you will continue to have them rear facing until they max out either the weight or the height for rear facing for that specific car seat. Because the vertebrae doesn't fully form until they're about 4 to 5 years old. So if you flip them forward, they're at a higher risk of suffering from internal decapitation and becoming essentially a vegetable for the rest of their lives if they survive.
Oh, I know it happens, but it just hurts my heart.
It's a real harsh reality,
Baby.
but I have to get it across that it is a
Yes.
safety issue because car accidents are the #1 killer of children under the age of 19 in the United States. More than anything else, it's car accidents.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Hello, Cynthia. How are you? Hi, Amber. How are you? I know. mm, you just shook me up with that one. I got the heebie-jeebies. you know, um, kids are so. I guess they're more fragile than we think. They think they're tough as nails, and they can do any and everything. But um, in a car accident, when I've had whiplash myself from somebody rear-ending me, and just the thought of my neck in that brace, I was in pain. I can't even imagine a child
Yeah. I mean,
it's
their bodies aren't designed to be forward facing at 18 months old. That's the reality. Even if you have a state like in Arkansas, it's a year old. Their bodies haven't fully formed. And
really.
is a parental decision, but it shouldn't be a decision based off of safety, because you have countries like the Netherlands and Switzerland. In Switzerland, they are rear facing until they're 5 years old. It's not up for discussion. It's not a matter of opinion. That is the law, and everybody follows it without argument.
Do they do something to the seats? Because I mean, I had a tall 5-year-old,
I
and to
believe
be rear facing.
the seats that are sold over there are adjustable. Like in America,
Okay,
we have the Diano Radian, which is rear facing up until 50 pounds. So you have options. It
because I
just
was going to say cars over here are not the same. I had a tall 5-year-old. I remember those little legs dangling everywhere.
their legs
Yeah.
are
Okay.
fine. Like it depends if even if they have really long legs, but their height is still within the parameters of that car seat, they're fine. It's better to have a broken leg than to have a
No
decapitated
life. Yes, I totally agree. I'd rather them have a broken leg and we can hobble around on a leg, but I can't bring him back to life.
body.
I cannot. Oh no, I cannot do that. Okay, so one of the common things, and I know I used to do this. I admit it when when I uh, when I got my newer car back in the day. I used to use the anchors
And
and put the little strap in the back, and I found out I was doing it wrong. So why don't we use both of them? Why?
so
Why?
the reason you choose one or the other, it depends again on your car seat, the position, and the limits. So you have to read the manufacturer um, manual for the car seat and the car. That's my biggest thing that I want to instill in everybody is you have to read both manuals. Most cars you can't use the middle seat for the anchors, and you can't share them as well. And it's a very common mistake that parents make.
Ah,
Other nannies, you can't
I've
share.
seen
It's
that.
only designed to hold one, and it's usually the outside seat.
Okay.
Um, And the reason you can't use both the seatbelt and the lower anchors is because they haven't been crash tested. It's only been crash tested as either one or the other.
Oh, so they don't.
They don't test the efficiency of both of them done together at the same time.
Okay. Because I've seen car seats in like SUVs, they're in the middle.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think. I haven't had a car seat in my new car. Uh, but I'm trying to, I know there's anchors on the outside. The outside. I haven't checked it, see if it was anchors for the middle.
The easiest
Uh,
way to check is by looking at the manual, because they will each have individual ones. You will never share anchors with
right,
side seats. And
right.
like with my previous car, I had a Prius. The anchors were only for the outside seats. The middle seat would have to be used with a seatbelt. And another thing with the seatbelt, so like 1 second. Here is my baby wrap. But a common issue I see with car seats, and when you're using the strap, is parents just put it under, and they are either using the forward facing, so it's way too far away. You have to make sure that you're going through the rear facing path. Again, looking at the stickers and reading the manual. But
Mhm.
then they just stick it in, and this doesn't automatically lock. You have to slowly pull it out until it clicks, and then slowly weave it back in, because then it locks. And slowly keep doing it, and then you'll still have a little bit of give. So one thing that I do, sorry, I don't have any car seats available, but You can put a knee on the car seat and then slowly move it back and forth and then weave that seatbelt back into it. Because your car seat is not supposed to be moving more than an inch front to back or side to side.
Right. Oh, I've seen some wobbly car seats, and they have made me nervous because I used to when I before I got the anchors, I used to put that strap back there, and I pull and pull and pull, and I shake the car seat, and I pull some more and shake the car seat, so to make sure that it is not weaving and bobbing all over the place. But I love my anchors, and um, the car seats, it's convertible. The car seats I had in my last car, I had an anchor. It was an SUV, and there's an anchor on the back of the seat.
Yeah.
So that one flips over. I said, I love this because there's an extra anchor that goes in the back and two that's down there. So wherever you're going, it's more stable to me
So
than just that shoulder strap going
if
through
your
there.
car has the back anchor, you have to use it every single time, whether you're using a shoulder seatbelt or whether you're using the lower anchors. You have to use that top tether. That can prevent a child's head from moving about 15 inches in a car accident, which is a huge difference when they're very small and you're going at a very high speed.
Yeah, because even 50 miles an hour is a high speed for a baby to be in a crash, for anybody to be in a crash. And
I see Nettie has a question. So at 150 pounds, I would look into a booster seat that could fit your child, because if the seatbelt is going at their neck, they have to be raised up a little bit. You may be able to adjust the seatbelt. Again, you have to look at your car manufacturer guidelines and also at any guidelines of a booster seat as well.
Yeah. So the guidelines, the weight, you have to look at the weight, you have to look at the height, and the make of the car seat to determine, is this the right car seat for my child? Is this going to is this going to supply secure and safe riding for my child? Not just, oh, that car seat looks good. Oh, let me buy that one. And
Not
then
every
you
car
get
seat will fit into every car, and
yes.
not every car seat will fit into every model, and it depends on how many children you have, where they're being placed, because there's so many wrong answers and there's so many right answers, and you can't give a specific until you're breaking everything down. My inspections usually end up taking about 30 minutes to an hour per seat, just because we have to look at recalls. If parents haven't sent in their information to the manufacturer of the car seat, you can go online and register your name, your address, and your email address, and they will send you updates if you have a recall. Very many car seats do. It can be as simple as a label is in the wrong place, but it can also be, this item is recalled and not safe for use. You won't know about that unless you register your car seat.
I had a car seat that was recalled because of the buckle. I don't know if kids were trying to get out of it, but it said it was a hazard for the kids' fingers.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking they had to be like 3 or 4 years old trying to get out of this car seat, because that's about the age when they say, I can do it, I can do it, let me do it. And they end up hurting themselves with that car seat.
Kids and parents and caregivers accidentally hurt kids. I know I've accidentally done the car seat clip and I've pinched and a blood blister has happened. It does happen and it sucks, but it's making sure like you have everything tight enough. So you're gonna have to look at the booster and research it. I don't have one off of the top of my head. And like, again, I don't know the car or the manufacturer or where the placement of the child is.
Right. So a lot of there's a lot of information goes into searching a car
Yeah.
seat. Don't just look online and say, "Oh, that one's cute. Oh, it's got pink butterflies. She's gonna love that." Yeah, she may love it, but is it safe for your child?
Yeah, I mean, also, like in California, children are not supposed to be in the front seat until they're at least 12 years old. I don't know what it's like in a different state that is maybe a little looser on their guidelines.
I'm so shocked. I'm from Arkansas, and when you said
So was
1 years
husband.
old, I was like, "What?" I
Yeah,
didn't turn my kids. My children. My baby is 30, and I didn't turn him around until he was 2.
it should be like that
And
and longer.
he is the tallest one of all. He wasn't that tall when he was that little, but now he's the tallest of all 3 of my sons. But it's oh my gosh, when I think back, because there's so much research that you have to do now in order to find the right car seat for your child. It's not just going to the store and say, "Okay, I need a car seat. Let me buy the cheapest one and put it in your car seat, and I'm gone." That doesn't work anymore.
No, it doesn't. So Adrian, I don't know the laws in Texas. It could be a year old, it could be 2 years old. Golden rule of thumb still is to keep them rear facing in a seat until they max out either height or weight according to the manufacturer. Just that's the best thing for their safety.
Amber says in Texas, no kids in the front seat till they are 13 years old.
That
Yep.
is the best thing. I mean, their craniofacial muscles, not their muscles, their bones don't fully form until they're about 12 or 13. So, in the event of an accident, an airbag can cause permanent damage. It's a lot easier to fix a face that's already been formed and is slightly broken as opposed to one that hasn't been put completely together.
Yeah. Oh, plastic surgery in kids, and then trying to grow up with that face that somebody gave you, and your body doesn't want to, and you got one jaw up here and one down here because you weren't
You
fully
didn't grow into your face
fully
yet.
grown. My son got hit by a drunk driver and it broke his ankle, and the doctor said the bone that it broke, it was a growing bone, and that he may have problems later if it doesn't heal right, because it was a growing bone, and if it healed, you know, just one this way or that way too much, it would cause problems with him when he got older. And that, as a parent, that's kind of scary to
Yeah.
know that your child may be permanently walking with a limp.
Uh,
So
I saw that Amber replied also to Adrian that the minimum age to be forward facing is 2 years old. So I highly suggest at least 2 years old. I don't know what the laws are like in Texas, in California. If your child is not properly restrained in the correct restraint, it is a $580 ticket, I believe. So it literally costs more money than any car seat.
thank you. Go get your right car seat. $580, and then you got to go get another car seat. Oh no. Oh, speaking of thinking about accidents, I know insurance companies uh, pay for car seats when you're in an accident, and you're supposed to switch out your car seat if you're in an accident. Now, my question is, if the child is not in the car when the accident occurs, do you still have to change out the car seat? Or is the car seat okay if it didn't touch the back side of the car?
You will have to contact your car seat manufacturer,
Okay.
the car manufacturer, and your insurance company. Some car seat manufacturers will say only if the airbags on that side deployed. Obviously, if the car is a total loss, you have to replace it.
Right.
Regardless of whether the child is in it or not, you can actually flip a car seat over, and sometimes you'll see little hairline cracks. This is super common in car seats that are being sold on Facebook Marketplace, in thrift stores, garage sales. You can see little white lines. Those are indicators of a car accident. It's a crack, and that car seat is no longer valid. It's not able to protect that child.
Okay, so let me ask you this. I know there is an expiration date on car seats.
Yes.
Are expiration dates put in a common place where everybody can go and say, okay, the expiration date is right up under the bottom. If you just flip it over, it's in this position. Or
it
does
depends on the
everybody have a different
manufacturer.
place?
So most of the manufacturers will have it on the back. Sometimes they have it all the way under the bottom. There's the serial number, the expiration date, the manufacturer date, and any other pertinent information.
Okay.
Like the model number specifically. I have an app actually. It is called Safer Car. And you can actually go in there and look up recalls for any manufacturer, brand, and model. So that's what we are recommended to use as CPSTs, just because it's constantly updated and we can just quickly look over within a few minutes. Because every time I do an inspection, I have to look for the manufacturer date, for the recall, for everything. And sometimes parents take those labels off and they will have to sign off with that liability that this is their seat, because I can't fully guarantee that the car seat is safe if they take it off. Another thing, do not take off labels. They're there
Right.
for a reason.
Yeah, that's just like you just remind me, the mattress and the pillow said, "Don't remove this label unless you're the owner of this pillow or this mattress."
But even if you're the owner, absolutely do not remove it. A lot of times
Right.
you'll see a red line and you're like, oh, I don't need that. That's actually the level indicator, and you do need that to make sure that the car seat is at a proper angle in a recline.
Yes, I like the ones with the little
The
level
bubbles?
bubbles, the little bubbles, the little liquid bubbles. I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
all right,
those are
don't move it.
very helpful.
I like those because I have, it reassures me that I'm in the vicinity. It may not be perfect, but I see that between those little lines is okay. This line, that line, it's not in the red, it's in the green. Okay, we're in the green, we're good. So I like those little bubble things, so I can make sure that I am properly installing this car seat, and it's at the right angle. It's not too far forward. It's not too far back. And what about the seat itself, the car's seat? Because I see a lot of people, they will put their child in the car seat, but they'll lean the seat of the car back, especially if a child is rear facing.
So you shouldn't be moving your car seat at all. You should have it at the full recline that it originally comes with. It should not ever move. Most backseat, the backs don't recline, but depending on if you have like a newer SUV that has that, don't move it. It's not supposed to be that way. If you're also using a seatbelt strap, make sure that it does not have inflatable straps. You cannot use those with a car seat, because in the event of an accident and they blow up to protect that person's chest, they're also going to throw that child and the car seat forward. And people will go to a car dealership and being like, what is the safest car? What's the best thing? And then they buy a new car for 40,000. It doesn't matter how much money, but I know a lot of parents that buy $60,000 cars, and the car seats that they have do not fit that child. So they have to buy new seats, because sometimes the angle of the seat is impossible to change. What you can do is use non-hollow foam, like the pool noodles. If you need that specific angle, if you don't have an angle adjuster, you can buy them at Lowe's, Home Depot. They do not need to have a hole because the pool noodles will collapse. So you can have 3 pool noodles, but when you actually push all the way down, there's extra space. You're not supposed to have that extra space. And you can do 1, and then you may need to do another half and cut it and make sure it's still super tight, cannot move more than an inch front to back or side to side.
So the pool noodle without the hole in it.
Without the hole, it's foam noodles. I buy them at Lowe's and I cut them to size to make sure that they fit into that car seat, but that also that they're not impeding if I'm using the seatbelt strap as well.
So you have to check both ways before you can say, oh, I can use this for this car seat.
Yeah, you have to check both ways. You also have to make sure it's not bending or twisting any of the straps that you're also using to anchor it down.
Okay. So we already talked about the weight limit because you have to make sure the weight limit is for that particular seat. What about cushions?
So any aftermarket product, if it does not come in the box with the original car seat, you cannot use it. It voids the warranty and the efficacy of that seat. If a car seat doesn't come with shoulder padding and you're like, oh, well, it's too tight on my child, they have a red line on their neck, they're not going to die from it. They'll be fine. But you cannot add anything else onto it. I know parents use sheepskin, which
yes, I was about to say that.
It might be nice and comfy, but that extra little bit of space can have that child fly out of the seat because it has not been crash tested.
Now here's the big one. It's September in the northern states. It's starting to cool off a little bit. In a couple of months, it's going to be freezing cold. And everybody's like, put your coat on before we go to the car. And then we get in the car and we buckle them in. And they got all this big puffy jacket on.
We don't use anything puffy at all, ever. We do a thin sweater. We can do a sweatshirt. We can't have anything puffy. Take it off. The few minutes that it's going to take from point A to point B, it might be really cold, but heat up the car ahead of time. The child will survive. You can, depending on how old they are, if they're over a year old, you can give them a blanket. But using a puffy jacket is not acceptable because it gives them sometimes an additional extra 3 inches of space that otherwise should be protecting them, but it's not going to.
Because we just put the car seat on and put it and buckle it in place, and we say, okay, it's tight enough. But that tightness, you got puff in the back, and you got puff in the front,
and you got puff at the bottom,
and you got puff all, especially when they sit down. All that long coat squishes up like this, so you got this much puff in the front, and you pulling the buckle around all of that puff, and you if you get in an accident, your child is like the wall is here and they like this to the wall because you got all of this puff in between the child and the seatbelt that is there to restrain them. If you just got a t-shirt on, or a sweatshirt on, okay, you can do as close. But with the puff, you got this much room, up to this much room between the back to the front and the puff that squishes down in between. And that's a lot of puff if your child gets into a car accident.
Yeah, and it counts for vests as well. I don't know why some parents and caregivers think a puffy vest is okay. They're like, I can't do a puffy jacket, but I can do a puffy vest. Can't do any puffy clothing.
And no puffy blankets on the baby? Because I've seen them, let me put them in here and get them all wrapped up tight, and then they put the car seat on them.
Nope. If you're going to do anything, you can put something on after. Again, talk to your pediatrician because it's not recommended that children have blankets at least until 12 months old. That is a risk that you can take as a parent if you're going to give it to them because it is a choking hazard. I don't do it. personally. Just like I don't add on any toys. I don't have iPads, which is a huge thing. I don't have a rear view mirror. Those are all projectile risks, and depending on how fast a car accident happens, that can go, they're not very far away from the baby's face. So an iPad is a pretty heavy device, and that can definitely smash into a child's face, breaking the face.
I have seen it. I have seen pictures of, and it is horrific to have just like little. It's like Frankenstein. Well, you know how he had all these stitches going to put his face together. That's what it's like times 10, because a child is sitting here and they're looking at the iPad, and the first thing that goes like this, when that impact comes, it's just like a torpedo hit your child in the face.
It's honestly anything. It can be a cup, it can, or the iPad even attached to the headrest. That is still a projectile risk depending on how fast an accident happens. Which is why you're not supposed to use anything. You're not supposed to use any aftermarket products. Your child can learn how to be bored. You can play music. You can talk to them. You can sing silly songs. I understand that a lot of children also get car sick when they're rear facing. You can try using C-bands. You can try giving them ginger chews ahead of time. But safety-wise, you shouldn't be forward facing them before the legal age and before they max out the height or weight of the car seat manufacturer as well.
Okay. Now, I know a lot of moms have the mirrors, you know, the rear facing with my baby. Let me see my baby. They have the mirrors on the seat and facing the baby. Now, I have personally experienced driving mom's car, and the baby's in the car, and the sun is reflecting in that mirror and right here on the face. Now, to me, and I ended up taking it off because, and I replaced it. I was like, okay, not on my watch. And that's just my thinking, not on my watch. If that sun is reflecting in that mirror, it's just like having one of those things when you're at the beach and you have that little it looks like tinfoil, that little board, and you're trying to get your tan on. Well, a baby can't take that much heat.
Yeah.
And if that sun is reflecting against that mirror and hitting that baby right in the face, guess what? And you go back there and your baby's face is already, oh, he's warm. No, he's burning up because the sun has hit that mirror and it's frying your baby's face.
Yeah.
Take the mirror off.
Again, it's also projectile risk and shouldn't be used. It's any aftermarket product. I know some parents have put on extra like potty pads because they're like, oh, my child has blowouts. You can't use that either. Depending on the manufacturer, you can read about how you can wash things. You're not supposed to wash the straps ever with soap. You can use water. Depending on the rest of the cushion, you can read about how you can wash it. Most of the time, I believe it's a very, very mild detergent on cold water and you air dry. But again, going back to the manufacturer for every little thing. And it gets frustrating when you have to constantly look back. But the reality is there's thousands of car seats on the market, and there's different versions of just one car seat can have different versions of it and have different rules and regulations for it.
Those convertible ones that go from the car seat and then you take the back off and then it becomes the booster seat and all that. If that seat is not latched on properly, because you have to lay it all the way flat, latch it, and then pull it up so it clicks, it will fall apart. And when your child starts wiggling, and you know kids don't sit still, especially 3 and 4-year-olds, and they get all excited and brother and sister are there and they trying to reach across and play with each other, that car seat will fall apart.
Yeah.
If you're not putting it together right. So be careful with that, because I had someone helping me. Oh, I can do it. No, let me do this. But I want to. Okay, I'll let you try. And after they got done, I went over there and shook it. I said, "Look, it came off." Well, I thought I did it right. No, let me show you
Mhm.
how to do it. You have to lay it out flat. Well, why you got to do all that? Because that's the proper way to put this car seat together. And if you don't put it together properly, this happens. It comes off and it becomes unsafe for your child.
I also did want to point out that not every car seat can go on a plane. You have to find ones that are FAA approved. They cannot be rear facing on an airplane. They have to be forward facing, regardless of the age of the child. So there's
Really?
several booster seats cannot be used on a flight. That's not FAA approved. So the Costco Sonera is one of the seats that is approved by the FAA. It is a pain in the butt to install in a regular car. The angle is difficult. It's so hard to get a tight grip on it. It's one of my least favorite car seats ever. But the reality is they're cheap. I believe they fall under $60 and can be used up to 45 pounds. Not sure on that, so don't quote me. But it can be used for a large range of purposes, from cars to flights, and for a number of children. But it's making sure that they're properly installed and with the child. Because if you're using it for a rear-facing child in the car seat, the straps have to be at or below for rear-facing. For forward-facing, they have to be at or above. They cannot be below.
Right.
And so before you get from that car to the flight, you have to adjust the straps. And then if you're going back to a car, you have to adjust the straps.
Pain in the patootie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have one question. There is this portable um, car seat.
The Myfold?
What it's called? I don't know what the name of it is, but it's a portable car seat, and you can take it with you. It's like a travel car seat, but it has like a bottom cushion. Shoot. I'm trying to remember. It's been years since I used it. It's been like 4 or 5 years since I used it. They may have changed it since then. But I remember one of my mom bosses, she got two for her kids because the baby was in the regular carrier car seat. But they used it when we went out of town, and the taxi cab driver had one because the kids required a car seat. He had one, and mom and dad had bought a car seat with them for the 3-year-old, and they used one of those boosters for this. What was he, 6-year-old? But anyway, I remember seeing it, and I'm thinking to myself, "Is that safe?" And I'm sitting here beside them. And as a nanny, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna hold on to this thing. I'm gonna be right here. And I'm not letting me, if something happens, it's gonna be me in the car, me against the car. But I I didn't trust it.
So there are a number of products on the market, like the Myfold. They have a compact portable booster, and then they also have a larger seat. I believe it's a 5-point harness. Um, the Myfold booster seat, it's literally this big, and it's very, very compact. And you can take it traveling. Again, you have to read the manufacturer guidelines of the height and the weight of the child, making sure that you're properly using the shoulder strap adjuster. Um, and there are some things, like, they're not frequently used. It's mainly for like special needs kids that are older, and it's a 5-point harness, but it attaches around the back seat of the car. They are crash tested if they're being produced, but it's making sure, like, again, you have to read the manufacturer height and weight, and all of the restrictions for it as well.
Amber says,
Amber, I agree with you on that. Because
she says, I am very particular about the car seats I use, and I always pay attention to the manuals. Since I'm very particular about them, I don't allow anyone to install my car seats in my car. Once they are in, they don't come out unless absolutely necessary. I totally agree with you.
The one thing I will say is anyone that is in your bubble that could ever watch your child in an emergency needs to be able to install and take out the car seat and be able to properly strap in your child and remove them as well. It's so diligent because grandparents end up taking care of children so often, and they are the worst offenders.
Ooh-wee. Say it again for the people in the back.
So,
and I'm a grandma, but I have an advantage. I'm a nanny, so
they don't always want to listen. Honestly, most people don't want to listen about car seat safety because I offer free inspections in my area. I will drive up to 45 minutes and do inspections just so that way you don't have to leave your house. I can make sure that your child is going to be able to leave your home safely.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of parents are very defensive and say that they're doing it properly. Again, according to my own experience, I've had 2 properly installed. According to NHTSA, which is the National Highway Safety and Traffic Association, it's about 95% incorrect.
Wow. Okay, so I have a question. I know.
Ma'am, sorry.
It's okay. We deal with animals all the time. If I wanted to become a what is it called? A child passenger safety technician. I always get those letters mixed up. If I want to become a child passenger safety technician, what are the requirements for me to take the class, and what requirements do I have to, be after? What do I have to do after?
Give me 1 second.
Okay. Must be a squirrel.
She's not a fan of people walking in front of her house.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Oh, I missed a whole lot of people. I'm sorry, everyone. Let me say hello to everyone. Let's see who came in. Hello, Melissa and Jennifer and Amanda and Kelsey and Sarah and Mallory and Carla and Fiona and Camille. I want to say Jaza. I think that's right. Autumn, Christy, Sue, and Alexa, and Lucretia, and Lisa. We had a lot of people watching, and that's what I said. I can't see everybody up here on this screen, so I have to go to my phone so I can see who's watching and who's doing what. But if I wanted to take the class, what are the requirements to take the class?
There weren't any requirements except being over the age of 18. So depending on your state, in Colorado, the CPST course is 3 days. In California, the majority of them are 5 days long. A lot of institutions pay for the training. I did it out of my own pocket. I had to pay for a place to stay for 5 days. I drove out there. Again, this is 2 weeks after I had major surgery and had an organ removed. And we had 16 people in our classroom. A lot of them were California Highway Patrol. We had nurses. We had people that worked with low-income families in helping kids, and ones that would transport children. I was the only one there not being paid by my job to be there. I was the only nanny as well.
Is it very expensive to take the class?
The class, I believe, cost me about $95, 90 to 135. It wasn't expensive in total. It cost me a few hundred more dollars because I had to pay about $100 a night to stay at this place, and then food, etc. For
Okay.
me, it was worth it. I have to get recertified every 2 years. I am planning on becoming an instructor after I do my 1 full year. During that time, to get recertified, you have to do at least one event for the public, and then you take a 1 day refresher and then take an exam. So it's a lot less tedious time-wise, and there's a lot more of the refresher courses than there are of the actual CPST course. Because mine were offered, I believe, every 2 or 3 months, and in a lot further places than just in my area, because it's not run by every CPH office. It's small little organizations that are doing this.
Okay. I looked into it once and I was going to take it. And then my family didn't go out of town. And I was like, damn, I was going to take this class. So they ended up staying at home and I ended up having to work. I was like, oh, I have the week off. Let me see. And I was going to have to travel 45 minutes, one way, but it was going to be worth it to me to take this class. And I was just like, and then ever since then, it's just like life has happened and I haven't been able to take it. I really want to take it, but it's just been, one thing after another. But I'm going to see, do they take, now that COVID is here, do you know if they offer it online or do you have to be in the classroom?
Impossible to take this online.
Okay.
There's so much hands-on information because there were days when we had to each install 15 car seats, 15 different car seats in different cars in different positions. And you can't tell by a video, honestly, if something is installed correctly.
Right.
Because instructors will get in it and try to rip it apart. We had 5 instructors, and luckily everyone during this session passed their exams, but there are people that fail and they have to retake it all over again. Or if they miss one exam, if they don't pass it, they have to start all over again.
Wow. Okay, now you made me not want to take the test. I'm like, I'm nervous. I am a hands-on learner, and I like the hands-on thing. That I learn best when I'm into it and I'm putting my hands on it and learning it. But actually taking tests, I get nervous, and I'm like, okay, what's I supposed to do? In my head, I know what it's supposed to be done. And after I take the test, I'm like, oh, I should have put that on there because this was the right answer. And sure enough, it was. Oh, I should have put that on there. I get so nervous that it's like everything gets jumbled. And then after the test is over, I'm like, now I know the answers. Now I know what I was supposed to put.
It's so different, and I get like test anxiety. I always have, especially when it comes to mathematics. But everything is hands-on learning. You're learning about everything. It's not just from a textbook, which you get. You are hands-on learning. You are going and doing everything. So Nettie, I don't know if it's true. It depends, again, on different states. In California, you are able to charge. There's nothing that says I can't charge for my services, because if I'm traveling 2 hours, I'm having people pay if I'm not doing a public service event, just if I'm traveling for one family. I have everybody sign a liability form. Parents have to give me their names, their addresses, their children's information, and then I fill out their car, what kind of car seat we're using, every tiny minor detail. And at the very end, if there's any changes, like if there's a label missing, I have to sign that off. And the parents sign off on that. It's a liability aspect because I'm not installing the car seat, the parents are. I'm just teaching them the safest way. It's not a guarantee that in an event of 150-mile-per-hour car accident and the car going up in flames, that their child will survive. I can't guarantee that, neither can the car, neither can the car seat manufacturer.
Right.
But it's about doing the most to keep these kids as safe as possible.
I understand. I'd have them signing waivers too. Waiver your life away, not mine.
Yeah.
I would have them sign anyway too. Hello, Cindy and Rachel and Noella. How are you? Thanks for joining us. Okay, so any last minute any final words or final tips for us?
So if you're not sure about something, you can go on safekids.org and you can find a CPST near you. I recommend it for everybody. If you are a nanny and you're questioning whether or not you should do this, either ask for professional development days off, paid ideally, and that the whole course is paid, and get this done. We need more education between caregivers, and we need it in our community. I'm trilingual, so I'm able to translate in Russian, English, and Ukrainian. There's a lot of communities, especially in Southern California, the Spanish-speaking community, that needs this information, because if you're an immigrant, you're not necessarily going to know all of the laws, and you're not going to know about all of the different things about a car seat necessarily. Because Lord knows I wasn't in a car seat ever, even though I moved to America when I was 5. And again, read the manufacturer, the warranty. You have to read everything. You have to register everything as well. Another thing with car seats, with the harness straps, if you can pinch it at their neck, it is too loose. My rule of thumb is if it's not tight, it's not right. I
like that rule of thumb.
I frankly don't care if a child is whining and says they're uncomfortable, because they will be a lot more uncomfortable if they're dead.
Oh.
It's a harsh reality. My husband's a first responder. I have a lot of friends that are first responders. The worst calls that they ever get are the ones where the child has flown out of a car because the car seat is not installed correctly, the child is not buckled in correctly, and that child died and has had a horrific death. No one wants to be that parent or that caregiver that could have prevented this, ever.
I am, you just brought back memories of two of my cousins were hit by a semi truck. Well, they were hit by, he wasn't drunk, but he had been drinking and he was driving a semi truck, and the car caught on fire. But one of my cousins flew out the window, and the other one. Now this was back when I was like 16 years old, so we're talking about almost 40 years ago. And 40 years ago, car seat safety was not like it is today.
Yeah.
So she flew out and ended up between the wheels. You know how they have the two double wheels?
Yeah.
She ended up between the wheels. And my other cousin, she flew out the window and she landed somewhere on the sidewalk, but it was like the impact. She was on the side of impact, so it just kind of threw both of them, because one was on one side and she flew, and the other one's on the side of impact and she flew. So it was, yeah. Get your seats. Make sure your child is that seat is proper for your child. Make sure you read the manuals. It costs you less to read a manual and to do Dr. Google, something you all do every day. You look up Dr. Google, Google this, Google that, everything that we say to you all, you Google it. Well, this is something worth Googling.
Yeah.
Google it, find out, and if you can't find your car manual, trust me, they have one online for your model, your make and model. They have it online. Google it, and it's in a section, and go to the index of your car manual, and it will say car seats, and it will say tell you about your cars, the actual seats of the car. Google.
One of the other things is most parents that have been under the influence and are not strapped in themselves, most of their children are also not strapped in, and that counts for a good majority of fatalities with children. Most of us have been to birthday parties, and there are parents just having the time of their life.
Oh, yeah.
Drinking wine. Those children are not safe. They're not properly strapped in. Have a designated driver, have a designated person who is driving and also knows how to properly strap your child in. Because I have seen it. I've seen how these children are kind of just tossed in like a bag of groceries, and they're not safe. They're not protected. It needs to be an adamant choice every single time, taking that extra 30 seconds to make sure that both straps are equally pulled out, because sometimes, especially like one strap will be a lot looser than the other, and so you have to push the
little button
and have it all the way back, and then evenly make sure that it's tight, because just those few inches, that child can fly out of that direction as well.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much for informing us and giving us all this information about car seats, about safety, about read, and reread. I'm just saying, read, and reread. You want your child safe. And don't trust an Uber driver to buckle your child in.
Oh, I actually do have one thing about the Ubers. In New York City, I took my nanny kid there, and I requested a car seat with an Uber. They come out and it is forward facing, and it is a tiny little harness. And we walked like 8 blocks because there was no way in absolute heck was my child going to be forward facing before she's 2 years old in an unsafe thing.
No.
And the state of New York, she didn't have to be rear facing. They don't have to provide rear facing seats. So if you're traveling, you have to make sure that you are bringing the equipment as well. I would not trust a car rental to provide an up-to-date, safe, correctly installed car seat, because when they have brought them in, which my previous family has done, I could literally just wiggle the car seat around like this, and whoever installed it had no idea what they were doing.
No, don't trust it. Don't trust it. Don't trust it. Make sure you do the due diligence on checking, on making sure that you have the right seat for your child at his height, his weight, and which direction your child is supposed to be going. Check your state laws to make sure that you know, because I would hate for you to get a $580 ticket, which cost you could have bought 3 car seats for that much.
Absolutely. And you could have bought yourself a lot more things than another car seat.
Yes, a part of a wardrobe.
Yeah.
At least you could have bought your child a wardrobe for $580. But thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you, everyone who asked questions. If anyone is interested, my Facebook is always available. Message me. If I'm able to help, I will. If not, I can provide you proper resources or someone that could help you in your area as well.
Okay, so when we get off, can you put your information in the comments? So in case somebody has questions or wants to expound upon a question they asked earlier and they didn't feel like they got, a good enough, I won't say a good enough answer, but they have more questions beyond those questions because we only have an
Or
hour.
yeah,
But um, can you put your information there so they can get in contact with you?
yeah. I mean,
And
this was an hour, and I did over 40 hours of training, so it's never enough.
right, it's never enough. So the more you know, the more you know, the more you know, and the more you know, the more you need to know. So thank you all. Don't forget, tomorrow morning I'll be starting the birthday, kicking off the birthday. I got all kinds of things that I'm going to be doing this month. And we will be seeing you not next week. Next week is Labor Day. We won't be here on Labor Day. But I will still have somebody. I still will be announcing somebody on Labor Day for the birthday giveaway. Um, but Ask the Nanny will not be here next Monday night. On the 14th, we'll be back and we will be with Karen, my friend Karen. She's going to teach us about CPR, first aid, and do some demonstrations about CPR and first aid. So I'm looking forward to that too. So if you need some tips on CPR and first aid, you should already have your CPR and first aid. But if you don't, this is a good place to start, and she can tell you some, where you can go to get your CPR and first aid done. Because every parent and nanny, especially nannies, but especially parents too, you need it too because you are your child's first, uh, I won't say savior, but saver. You
Yes,
change if something happens to your child and we're not there, don't panic. If you know CPR and you can't be running back and forth to the cabinet where you got the CPR instructions hung up and your child's way back in the bedroom. No, you need to know. So that muscle memory will kick into action and not, oh, it's in the cabinet. Oh my gosh, what are we going to do? Uh-uh. Be ready. So we'll see you on the 14th, and you all have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful week with and on purpose. We'll see you guys later.
bye. Thank you, Angela.
Thank you.